Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dhati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Sripam Shaivajatam Shaivana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadhutam Parijanam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagna Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanto Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Shute Devi Varnamami Hari Priye Namaho Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanto Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Kalyug Paundhar Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Assemble Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Prem Nandi Hari Hari Bol. Thank you, Hare Krishna. So, we are going to continue where we left last class. So, we are studying verses of Nectar of Instruction. And I'll just give the quick summary, and then we'll move to the next verses that we have to complete today. So we completed so far 3 verses, and we'll read 4th and 5th today. So the first verse talks about 6 urges: Vacha Vega, Mansaya, Krodha Vega, and then the next 6 vices are mentioned in verse number 2, and those are the basically 2 verses which are giving us the guidance that all of these 12 items need to be avoided in our Krishna consciousness. And then after that, we started talking about a series of verses which are going to give us the guidance that what are the things which are going to be in favor of our bhakti. And then we went to the verse number 3 that talks about 6 virtues. And we had to, if we bring those qualities, those virtues in our consciousness, then Sadbhir Bhakti Prasiddhati, then it's basically help us to elevate our consciousness. So today we are going to read verse number 4. And this verse is basically also teaching what are the things, 6 items that we have to continue, adding in our consciousness to improve, to increase our intensity in bhakti. So dadati, patigrahanati, guhyam, akhyati, prichanti, bhunjate, bhojjate chaiva, sadvidim pritilakshana. Dadati means offering gifts, to give gifts to devotees. And then patigrahanati, accepting gift that is given to devotee. Guhyam Akhyati, Guhyam, revealing the mind in confidence. So, as we are progressing on the path of bhakti, if there is any doubt, any conflict, any question that come, we should be sharing that, of course, with the devotee who we have our good faith, who we have our good relationship, and asking uh, what's the solution for the problem that I'm going through or the conflict that I'm seeing. It's very obvious. Conflict is very natural, and we can't avoid conflict, especially in the very beginning of our Krishna consciousness, unless and until we do not advance and come to the stage of at least Madhmadikari. The more we are uh, still in the consciousness of me and mine, and still in the consciousness of body, the more conflict arises. But when we advance and we start having some deeper understanding, then we start harmonizing the conflict that exists, and we go beyond that conflict and find a solution that instigate bhakti, solution that will uh, invoke Krishna consciousness. So it's very important that we reveal our heart in confidentiality with a devotee, senior devotee, and share, ask anything that appears to be blocking a stone. And then that's basically Prichati, revealing the mind in confidence, and then inquiring with confidentiality. And then Bhungate, accepting prasada. So if devotee is offering prasad, we should honor it with due respect, and also uh, invite other to come and take prasadam with us. So we should basically accept the invitation given by devotee, and also when opportunity comes, we should invite devotees to come and have prasadam with us. So these are the 6 activities of exchanges that has been basically existing even in the normal interaction that we have. But especially for devotee, it's very, very important, because these are the means by which we associate. I know we associate with devotees who are higher in their consciousness, and by this consciousness, we elevate, by that association, we elevate our consciousness. So these are the symptoms of priti, love, shared among devotees in good association. So these are the symptom of love that has to be conducted in good association. It's very important to understand what is that good association. And then in next verse, verse number 5th, we are going to understand what exactly is the association, what type of association we seek for. So accepting and giving gift, dadati, pratigrihanati, is recommended. And then I'm going to highlight some of the key points that's mentioned in the purport. I'm expecting that all of you are, as we are going through, you are spending some time, and after lecture, we have 1 week before we meet next week. So during that time, please read the purport and also try to do your homework. I haven't received any homework yet, so I'm expecting that all of you are working on it. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning
Prabhu,
about, yes,
can I
Prabhu.
ask a question, Prabhu?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so the homework is all in one document. So I wasn't aware that you wanted us to send it as we completed each section.
Yeah, so the way I
That,
want to, yeah, Prabhu, go ahead.
oh no, go ahead.
So you have to basically copy and paste. So
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you, Prabhu. I didn't
yeah,
understand.
okay. So we have 6 lessons. So 11 verses. Preface and 11 verses makes it, basically 12 topics. So for 2 topic, there is 1 lesson. So the attachment that I sent you has 6 lessons. So that is how I'm
Okay.
tracking. Every
Not
class, I'm trying to go through 2 verses.
now I understand, Prabhu. Thank you.
No problem. So first class, we had preface and verse number 1. So there is homework on that. In the second class, we had verse 2 and verse 3. That is lesson number 2. And today we are going through verse number 4 and 5th. That will be the third lesson.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yes, Prabhu. And Nectar of Instruction lessons are going to be relatively easier than Gita, for sure. There are not much that you have to do. If you are reading the purport, answer is right there. You have to basically read the purport and answer. So 3 lessons basically will be due by next Friday. So going back to the discussion, so in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is talking about example that was established by Sri Rupa Goswami. And when Sri Rupa Goswami, when he left the material, uh, connection with everything that he has around, whatever he had, as you know, he was basically big minister of Hussein Shah, big personality. So of course, both Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, he had acquired a lot of wealth. Both of them together had acquired a lot of wealth. But Sri Rupa Goswami's example consistently, being cited whenever it comes for us, that how we should basically, deal with our uh, property, our collection that we have accumulated. So 50% of the income in the service of Krishna and devotee. That's what he did. And 25% income to the relatives, and 25% for personal emergency. So that is basically cited by Srila Prabhupada in the purport. And then there are so many other points mentioned about Guhyam, Akhyati, and then also about Prikshati, then about Bhunkate, and then Bhojate. So all of that is mentioned in the purport, that we should basically have the association of the devotee, and in the association of devotee, we should have these 6 exchanges, especially if these exchanges are being done uh, in regards to or to Uttmadhikari or Madhmadhikari, then these exchanges itself will be very, very powerful for our consciousness, such as, the picture here we are seeing Srila Prabhupada, distributing cookies to kids. Everybody is, spreading their hand, and they want, basically blessing of Srila Prabhupada. So that's one of the example, how we associate with the senior and advanced devotee. And then Prabhupada is talking that these 6 items that is being mentioned here can have also some negative injunctions, such as we should not basically engage ourselves doing these 6 exchanges with the people who are of the envious mentality. An example is given that it doesn't matter how much we feed to a snake, kevalam bisha vardhanam. It's basically whatever we are doing for that snake, whatever we are feeding, it's ultimately going to increase the poison to that being. So envious definitely we have to avoid the association of envious people. Also, very clearly, Prabhupada says that these 6 loving exchanges should not be done with atheists, people who do not believe in God, or Mayavadis who think that they themselves are the God, or Jnani, or Karmi, or anyone whose life's goal is just the sense enjoyment. In Ramayana, there is a beautiful verse that comes, and that verse is basically telling that who in this material world, who will be that person who will cut the tree of mango, knowing that the leaves of the mangoes are being used into the yagya. The tree itself is auspicious, and the fruit that comes out of that tree is so nectarian, so sweet, so juicy. So who will cut that 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 mango tree and transplant a neem tree, knowing that the tree itself is the bitter, the leaves are bitter, fruits that comes out of that tree itself is going to be bitter. So transplant neem tree and then pour sweet or milk, thinking that by pouring sweet or milk at some point, the neem itself will become sweet, or the fruit that will come out of that tree will become sweet. Who in this world will do that kind of dealings? And that comes right after when Keka is asking Maharaj Dashrath the 2 boons. That the first one, Lord Ramchand should go to forest, and second, my son Bharat should be the king. So so it comes right after that. That Dashrath is thinking that what I have done. I had a neem tree, and Kekai was one of the loving most queen of Dashrath, and now see what she's asking. How bitter her behavior is. How strong she has become against any feeling towards Dashrath, towards Lord Ramchand, towards citizens of Ayodhya. So this is a very beautiful point that is given to a devotee to warn us that we do associate with people from outside, but there should be always some degree of precaution when uh, we are interacting with the people who are not Krishna conscious. If we interact with them, then the fruits, the results that will come completely in favor of our, completely in against of our bhakti. But on the other hand, if we take the right association, then that association will be the cause of bhakti. And then Prabhupada is saying that the bhakti of Krishna is basically embedded in every living being. It's not something that is artificially imposed. Nityasiddha Krishna Prema Sadhyaka Gunaya Sarvanadi Suddhachita Udaya Karaya. This is basically in the heart of every living being. And when the living being gets the opportunity where they are uh, hearing and engaging in the limbs of bhakti, then that seed will turn into a creeper and then it starts, turning into the plant. So it's very, very important that we be very reserved when we are choosing our association. And then Prabhupada is saying that if the association is right, if the bhakti is awakened, then that bhakti will slowly and slowly start growing up. And then some of the points are mentioned here, such as by chanting and hearing about Krishna, continuing our association with the devotee, observing the do's and don'ts that is being given here, and following the teaching of our acharyas, and also making our life's goal as goal that our Guru Maharaj or our Acharyas have in their lives, trying to work for their mission. If we engage in Krishna consciousness in that way, then our consciousness will elevate. And then regarding chanting, Prabhupada is saying that, and he's giving the example when Mahaprabhu, came from South India yatra, then he started another yatra, which was from Puri to Vrindavan. And while he was going from Puri to Vrindavan, he went through the Jharkhand forest. And in his way, as he was going through the forest, he was chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And all the lions and tigers and monkeys and elephants and all other beings, birds, every body, they started following and chanting name of Krishna. So Prabhupada is emphasizing the point that when devotees are chanting, that chanting is not only elevating the consciousness of the devotee, but it's also elevating the consciousness of the other, living being which are around. So you might be staying, in an area where you have so many people not believing in God. They might have some, other beliefs, but your presence there and your chanting and the vibration that's coming out of your mouth, that's basically helping others who are in your neighborhood and working on their consciousness. It's been said that the greatest mercy uh, anyone can do to this suffering globe, that mercy can be done only by devotee, or devotee can only do the greatest mercy. There are different types of mercy that we see people do. There are different types of charity, people can do. But the greatest charity a mankind can do to suffering mankind is that man is himself, a pure devotee. An example is given, walking of Srila Prabhupada on this planet. He's walking, it was the greatest welfare for this whole globe. So one pure devotee can create an environment to purify the whole globe. So that is why that's why it's very, very important that we understand the importance of Hare Krishna Mahamantra and importance of chanting, and also importance of associating with the devotees who are advanced. And this will continue building on into the next verse also. And then the last, few last paragraphs of that purport, Prabhupada is saying that religion is basically basic function in the human society. In any society we go, even somebody is living in the jungle, in the tribes, community, still in that community, there is certain belief, there is certain do's, there is certain don't. So there is some structure, there is some code of conduct for that society to act. Likewise, we live in a society and we also have a social conduct, some do's and some don'ts. So Prabhupada is saying that wherever human beings are, they have some religious functions that they are acting under. But on the other hand, animal, they live in the forest, but they do not have any religious society. But there could be so many religious beliefs, so many religious activity, but the supreme dharma is the dharma that awaken love in the heart of conditioned soul. And then that beautiful verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Soi Pumsam Pro Dharma, Yada Bhakti Adhokaja, Ahituke Pratihata Ya Atma Suprasidati, is being cited. That's the real religion. The real religion is that awaken love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's what basically should be the dharma of the society. Prabhupada is saying that if the human being, they actually want to be happy, they want to be peaceful, they want to have the friendly relationship, then they should follow the dharma, they should follow the teaching of Krishna consciousness. Okay, very beautiful verse. So that's how the purport of verse number 4 is getting over. And then we move to verse number 5. Before I move to verse number 5, I wanted to see if there is any realization, anything that anybody has that you will be interested to talk or share, or if it's making sense. If it's making sense, then how it's making sense. Anybody would like to share?
Prabhu?
Yes.
Yeah, this is Ram Kishore. I have a question. So like in the negative injunction of this verse, so like the feeding a snake milk or bananas example. So at what point, because we part of Prabhupada shared prasad with everybody. So at what point when do you not do that because you're supporting this negative injunction? Do you know what I mean?
Right. So this will be a little bit more clear in next verse. Basically, there are 4 actions that that a devotee has to conduct or devotee has to be part of. If somebody is already devotee of Krishna, then we have to have the friendship. So if somebody is devotee of Krishna, in that case we are having all of these exchanges very carefully. But if somebody is innocent, then we have to have the compassion. We have to have the daya. So what you are talking about is this daya part. So the way we manage is that if somebody is on the receiving end, and if somebody is receiving your association, then you have to keep on expanding. As long as you are expanding your compassion, and the person who you are associating, he's receiving your compassion. But if that person has envious mentality, then the 4th step that we have to do, upeksha. Okay, so then there we have to say that I'm done, I cannot go beyond that, just neglect it. So that's why we have to basically manage, and that also makes we as a devotee, this is the quality of a madhmadhikari. Madhmadhikari can very nicely harmonized that how much I need to open myself so that I'm giving my association to others, but at the same time I'm not basically trying to hurt one feeling, or I'm not trying to basically somehow or other harm my consciousness. So he will go up to that extent. But if he'll find out that now it's beyond, I cannot handle, then he will neglect that association. So this type of vision is developed to the madhmadhikari. But kanistha cannot. Kanistha Adhikari would not know. So that's why for Kanistha Adhikari, it's very, very important that we act under the instruction of a senior devotee. We expand our consciousness to somebody, and whatever reaction we are getting, if some conflict, some confusion comes, then we get guidance on that particular concern from our senior devotee. So these are some of the tips that I can share. But the next verse will talk about what you were asking, Prabhu.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu, for both question and answer.
Mataji, yes. What is that? You said something, Mataji? I didn't hear.
No, Prabhu, I just said thank you very much for both the question and answer.
Thank you, Mataji. Okay, so anybody else has anything?
Prabhu, one quick thought.
Yes, Mataji, please.
We were talking about, not associating with, Mayavadis and non-devotees and all that. But even when we are associating with devotees, sometimes, I know we are all conditioned and we are all in the different phases or steps of our ladder. Sometimes it impacts us, right, Prabhu, that that time, I know we cannot really open up our heart to everybody, even within the devotees. I think I had one of the situation, I took shelter of another senior devotee and got some help, but we cannot quickly share or open our heart with any devotee also, I felt.
Yes, you are right. You are right. We should not also. Yes. Very important that we have some faith in
Yeah.
somebody's bhakti. It's very important that we have seen some fire. There is some quality of that particular devotee who inspires you. You are striving to basically have those quality in yourself, and you have basically accepted that person as your mentor or shiksha guru
Correct.
to and yes, you're 100% true. We cannot basically hear everybody's opinion. We cannot also open our heart and any confidential thing we have to each and everybody. We have to be very selective. That is why not everybody is our mentor, not everybody is our shiksha guru, not everybody is our guru. Why? Because there are certain characteristic in a devotee that is more attracting to your heart, and we have to listen that. And the next verse will tell that how we should basically deal with each type of devotee. But you are right, no need to unnecessarily. And if we are not opening our heart, if we are not seeking the guidance from the devotee, that doesn't mean that we are not having respect for that person. No, it's just some guardrails and guidance for our consciousness to channelize, to give a path so that it can go far. If you just open the water and let it go in all direction, it will get lost. But if you put in a canal and put in a channel, then same water can go far. So in the beginning, while we are still in a very at least I am for sure in a neophyte or in a very lower stage of consciousness, we have to have these guardrails so that we can elevate our consciousness. And then once we elevate our consciousness, go far in our Krishna consciousness, then you yourself will be able to see things a little bit more in a bona fide way, more in a Krishna conscious way. So yes, in the beginning, we have to be focused and have some guidance and guardrails. And that's what the main purpose of this teaching is. Through Rupa Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving us the guidance that how one should basically proceed ourselves on the path of bhakti.
Excellent example, Prabhu, that water need to be channeled in a proper way. Otherwise, our young bhakti bird, it can be, smudged if we are not guarding that well, even within the devotees. So thank you, Prabhu.
Very important. So I would like to move to the next verse and then we'll have more discussion. So verse number 5 is very powerful verse. And this verse will in fact answer more or give more insight to both the questions that Prabhuji and Mataji, or both the realizations that Prabhuji and Mataji just shared with us. So I would just like to read this verse. It says, Krishneti yasya gri tam manas adriyata dikshasti chita pranatibhish chah bhajantamisham susasya bhajana vignam ananyam anya nindadi shunyahridam ipsita sanga labdhaya. Krishneti yasya gri tam manas adriyata. Krishneti yasya gri tam manas adriyata. A person who is worshipping Krishna by his words, gri, yasya gri, he is doing the glorification of Krishna by his word, that person should be honored, and he should be honored by our mind. So mentally, the translation goes like, mentally honor the Kanistha devotee who chants Krishna's holy name. Okay, so we'll see more who the Kanistha devotee is. So Kanistha devotee who are chanting the name of Krishna should be mentally honored. Dikshasti cheta pranativish chah bhajantam isham. But the devotee who have taken the initiation and who is engaged, bhajantam isham, isham means Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is engaged in worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he is chanting, he has received the initiation, and he is engaged in devotional service. That devotee is considered Madhyamadhikari, and we should be paying humble obeisances to that devotee. Purusasya bhajanam vignam ananyam anya nindati shunya hridam ipsita shanga labdaya. A devotee, bhajanam vignam, a devotee who is expert in applying the teaching that is given by Lord and Acharyas. Ananyam anya, without any deviation, he has no propensity to nindati shunya hirdam. He has no propensity to criticize anyone. He has no propensity. Nindati shunya hirdam. In his heart, there is zero propensity to nindati, to criticize other living being. Ipsita sangha labdaye. That type of devotee. Ipsita means we should have the hankering. We should have the desire to associate with that person. So just to give a flow, that we should associate with honor and faithfully serve an Uttama Adhikari who is undeviated in bhakti and whose heart is free from the propensity to criticize others. So very specifically, criticize to others, the mentality of criticizing others. So as we read our Shastra, our scriptures, in different context, definition of Kanishta, Madhma, and Uttama Adhikari will change. Or in other words, that there is not one line definition for Kanishta Adhikari. There is not one line definition for Madhma Adhikari. There is not one line definition for Uttama Adhikari. Contextually, this definition will change. But the better way to present it is that Kanishta Adhikari is set of qualities. Okay, Uttama Adhikari is set of qualities. Madhma Adhikari is set of qualities. Okay, so sometimes we define these three devotees, these three adhikaris. Okay, many times when we talk, we say that we should not ask the question beyond our adhikara. We should not ask the question, about rasa dance. We should not ask the question which is beyond our understanding. We have some degree of understanding where we are today, but there are, and on that degree, on that status, we have also reception power. If things are coming on that degree where I am at in my Krishna consciousness, I'm very, very, suitable to receive that instruction, to understand that instruction, to apply that instruction in our life. But if I get, guidance, or if I get instructions which are beyond my adhikara, then either I would not understand, or it would not make sense to me, or even if I artificially pretend to understand, but we cannot implement it. So it's always very important in our bhakti that number one, we do introspection to understand where I am. Because what that does is that help us to understand what type of questions I can ask, what the topic is being discussed here, how much I can, understand. Okay, that's one thing. And second thing it does is that it helps you to understand what is other position. Okay, so when we understand our position, it's not only help us to understand our position, but by knowing our position, we'll be able to understand other position. So in our devotional service, it's very, very important that we do self-introspection to understand where we stand. And that will help us do these three things. If we see people who are in the Kanishta state, we can have great respect for that person. Mind will honor all the respect with our mind. But if you see there is somebody who's on the Madhma Adhikari, then we pay our due respect, humble obeisances. Please accept my humble obeisances. This is the dealing of the Madhma Adhikari. And if somebody is on the Uttama platform, then we are sincerely seeking, we are sincerely trying to serve that devotee. But unless and until we do not understand where we are, it's very hard for us to understand other position. And this is also one of the criteria that give definition of Kanishta, Madhma, and Uttama. Kanishta Adhikari do not know what is his consciousness. And since he does not know what is his consciousness, he cannot have understanding of others' consciousness. Who is Madhma or who is Uttama? It's very hard for Kanishta to understand. He will say everybody is on the same level. I'm zero, everybody is zero. Oh, I'm not advanced, none of the person I'm seeing around is advanced. I do not understand, none of this person understand. They are still chanting, they are still following. But the mentality there is that if I am not there, nobody is there because I do this, I do that. So Kanishta Adhikari will see his own devotion much. He will, if I'm doing this thing, then I'm great. Okay. He cannot see others' position. But on the other hand, Madhma Adhikari is well, established. He can see who is Kanishta and who is Uttama. And he can give proper respect to Kanishta. He can give proper respect to Uttama. Okay, so we'll see that's coming up. And then Uttama Adhikari, he will see Krishna everywhere. Okay, he will understand everybody's position. And he is so submissive, so immersed in Krishna consciousness that everybody else's position will appear to him that they all are high. They all are serving the Lord. It's only me who are not serving Krishna. So we'll see some of those definitions as we go section by section. But it's very important that we have some understanding of who these personalities are and how we should basically have our dealing with them. And after we are done with these two slides, we'll have some time. And I would like to have some QA and some discussion. So before we get into their qualities, role of faith is very important to put them in different degree. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Mahaprabhu is teaching Sanatana Goswami in Madhya Lila, he's saying that Shraddhavan Janahaya Bhakti Adhikari, the one who has faith. Faith is the very first step to proceed on the path of bhakti. From Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Anartha Nivriti, all of that comes one after another. But Shraddha is very preliminary stage. But it's preliminary, it's a very early on stage, it's preliminary stage, but the degree of Shraddha continue increasing. So in the very beginning, we might have some Shraddha to go to temple, but that Shraddha will continue increasing. Okay, so it's not like that the Shraddha is the step, the first step, and then after certain degree, after certain point, our Shraddha is stopped. No, that continues growing. So that's what this verse is saying. The Sardhavan Janaya Bhakta Adhikari, the one Bhakti Adhikari, the one who is Adhikara, the one who has right to receive Bhakti, has to have some faith. Uttama, Madhma, Kanishta, Sardha Anusari. Based upon their degree of faith, they can be put into Uttama category, or Madhma category, or Kanishta category. Okay, so that's one definition. That based upon Kanishta, one who had chanted Harinam just once, just even once, if somebody had chanted the name of Krishna, Prabhupada is saying, Mahaprabhu is saying, in fact, to Sanatana Goswami, should be considered Kanishta. But Madhma is one who constantly chanting the Hari name of Krishna. And Uttama is one just by mere his presence, just by seeing him, once will be inspired to chant the name of Krishna. So he himself is such an inspiring personality that his presence itself will inspire one to chant the name of Krishna. So Kanishta is the one who has at least once chanted the name of Krishna. Madhma is one who is constantly chanting the name of Krishna. Chanting the name of Krishna, in different format. Right now, are we chanting the name of Krishna or not? Yes, we are chanting. When we are doing meeting for Krishna consciousness, are we chanting the name of Krishna or not? Yes, we are chanting. Okay, so taking those 9 limbs in a very practical way, all of those can be considered chanting the name of Krishna. And of course, the chanting of name of Krishna, as chanting we do, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Madhma Adhikari is always engaged in Krishna conscious activity. And Uttama Adhikari is beyond. He is always chanting, but his presence, he is so sublime, so effulgent. He himself is such a great example of Krishna consciousness that just by mere looking at him, we will be inspired to chant. So we'll see some more qualities of these adhikaris, of these devotees. So Kanishta Adhikari is the lowest platform of the bhakti, and the faith of Kanishta Adhikari is Komal Shraddha. He has faith, but if you will go to some, people who are Mayavadi, some karmic people, who are partying, he will go and he will start, acting like them. When he will come back, he'll say, oh, I'm supposed to be doing like that. Why I did like that? Okay, next time, I'm going to be not doing like that. So his faith is not formed. He is still kind of dilute. So surrounding that we see, the environment that he or she is in, he or she will be impacted by it. You will see devotee, he will start doing devotional activity. He will see, people from the corporate office, he will start, talking like them, behaving like them. So there is no, firm ground to the Kanishta Adhikari. He can very easily, since his faith is not formed, he can very easily get convinced by other doctrines. That's the word I'm using, other theology. Okay, so for Kanishta Adhikari, it's highly recommended that he should be always in the in the association of a devotee, unless and until his faith becomes forms. He has received Harinam initiation from the Guru. He has taken shelter of Krishna name, understanding that Krishna and his holy name are non-different. So Kanishta is also not lower stage. He has come to that stage, where he is seeing that Nam Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukto Abhinato Nam Namino. This is not different between the person and the holy name itself. But here is the thing that we have to understand. Cannot understand that a Madhma devotee is in a superior position, and that such a position must be aspired for. So first, he would not be able to see the position of the senior devotee maybe on a very superficial level, but not on a very defined way, not in a very I would say that internal way, and he would not be inspired basically to get to that position. So that's the problem of the Kanishta Adhikari. Sometimes he may become a guru, But since his faith is not formed in Krishna consciousness, he will fall down. Okay, that type of person should be respected within the mind. A Kanishta Adhikari should be respected within mind. In 11th canto, 2nd chapter, verse number 47, gives a definition of the Kanishta Adhikari that says that Archyam eva haraye pujamyah sradhayate na tad bhakteshu chaneshu sah bhakta prakrita smritah. So they faithfully worship the deity in the temple, but can't behave properly with the devotees and with other people. Such a devotee is Prakrita Bhakta. His behavior is still not perfected. So he is considered Prakrita Bhakta. One shall not remain a Kanistadhikari, but should raise to the platform of Madhmadhikari. At least we should raise ourselves to the platform of Madhmadhikari. So that's, we are, that's why we are learning about Kanishta. That's why it's very important to understand where we are. If we do not know that I am still, in very lower stage of my consciousness, then how we can inspire to go? The guidance that's given to us is that at least we should have inspiration to come to the Madhma stage. So we'll see some of the quality of the Madhmadhikari. And here we'll see beautiful answer that Prabhu was asking. The question of Prabhu answer is right here given. Ishware tad adineshu baliseshu dvisatsu cha prema matri kripoksha yah karoti samadhyama. So prema matri kripa upeksha. These four things who are doing is considered Madhmadhikari. Okay, so what these four things that Madhmadhikari is doing? Ishware prema. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is in complete love. He is loving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tad adhineshu matri. One who, if you will see someone who is fully engaged in Krishna consciousness, he will make friendship. He will associate with that person. Bali Sesu, the person who is ignorant, but not envious. A person, sometimes, when we are out trying to preach, we find people who are ignorant, but they are not envious. If they will come and chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra with us. If you give them the book, they will take the book. So that type of person, if he will see, he will have the kripa. He will, start showing his compassion. But dvisas, if you will find out that that person has envy, that person is envious towards Lord, towards his teaching, towards his devotee, then upeksha, he will reject. So Madhmadhikari can very nicely deal with all this type of people. Whatever consciousness one is in, Madhmadhikari has full insight to understand where this person stands on his consciousness, on his or her consciousness, and then he will have his dealing based upon the consciousness that he will find in the person. So he has also received the initiation from a guru. He is fully engaged in serving Krishna as per the instructions of the guru, and he is sincerely endeavoring to perform the limbs of bhakti to further advance in the process of bhakti. A Madhmadhikari has some degree of Sastric knowledge. His Sastric knowledge is sufficient enough for him to inspire to stay on the process of bhakti. But he is not strong enough to convince some of the people who are very intelligent, some of the atheists who are very intelligent, some of the time we see tough questions, coming. So a person who is in the Madhma stage, he might have understanding of the subject, but he might not be expert enough to convince or to present the teaching of Shastra to inspire a person who is posing the question. So Madhma Adhikari has the knowledge, but not strong enough to convince other. And he does not see all jiva on equal vision. So Madhma Adhikari can still see lion as lion, cat as cat, dog as dog. Still there is a vision based upon their bodily feature. He is still seeing the body. He's not seeing the soul that is inside, which is part and parcel of Krishna. A Madhma Adhikari, if he is imitating to be Uttama Adhikari, he will fall down because his core consciousness has not been uplifted to the stage of Uttama platform. So he is going to fall down. Let's see what is the quality of Uttama Adhikari. Sarva Bhuteshu Yah Pashed Bhagvat Bhavam Atmanaha. So Sarva Bhuteshu Yah Pashed. When he is looking at all other living beings, what he is seeing? Bhagvat Bhavam Atmanaha. He is seeing all of this living being has Bhagavad Bhav. Now we are seeing that. We are not seeing that. It's very difficult. That's why it's been said that Uttama Adhikari cannot preach, because Uttama Adhikari will see, oh, everybody is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And everybody is basically existing in their relationship with Krishna. Okay, so he would basically see everything, all soul, as energy of Krishna. Bhutani Bhagavati Atmani Esha Bhagavato Utmaha. Bhutani Bhagavati Atmani. He is looking at everybody, and he is seeing that all of these living beings, Atmani, as per their desire, they are engaged in serving Supreme Personality of Godhead. So please note, I'm going to read what I have there. Sees within everything the soul of all souls. So in everything he is seeing Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord. Understand that everything that exists is eternally situated within the Lord. And that type of person is Mahabhagavat. A Mahabhagavat, a perfect Vaishnava, is self-realized and pure devotee, unalloyed devotee of Krishna. And his association is the most desirable. Spell error there, sorry for that. His association is the most desirable. Without being self-realized, no one should imitate an Uttama behavior. For such imitation will lead to degradation. Madhma can also fall down if he will imitate to Uttama. If Kanishta is imitating Madhma, he will also fall down. He cannot, imitate. So the internal awakening of the consciousness is what is being, taught here. That we have to act in a way that we are internally awakening our consciousness. Serving an Uttama Bhakta is the root cause of all perfection in Bhakti. So whenever we get the association of Uttama Bhakta, and if we have eyes to see, if we have the fortune to understand that right now I am having association of Uttama Bhakta, we should serve that devotee. Uttama devotee can be recognized by their ability to convert many fallen souls to Vaishnavism. So Uttama Adhikari, by his behavior, by his acharan, the way he acts when they walk on this planet, he has that force. He has that, that force when he's walking. He's upside and down, back and forth, left and right, turning, soul into Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada, so many other acharyas, they were like that. And Uttama is a qualified guru. And to be guru, one has to be at least at the stage of the Uttama Adhikari. That's what is basically teaching. Kanishta and Madhma Vaishnava may also accept the disciple, but such disciple cannot advance very well towards the ultimate goal of life under their insufficient guidance. So this is Mahaprabhu teaching to Sanatana Goswami captured by Prabhupada in the purport of Nectar of Instruction. So if we read together Chaitanya Charitamrita, it comes in the Madhya Lila, chapter 22, that if Uttama Adhikari is being imitated by this Kanishta and Madhma, and if Kanishta and Madhma becomes Guru, that person cannot help his follower to advance in their bhakti because of his insufficiency, because of his insufficient guidance. So these are the things, we have to also, that's why Nectar of Instruction is very, very important. It helps us understand how we should act, how should, we take the shelter of our spiritual master. And then there are, I'm running a little late, but I'll try to finish this one. Then Prabhupada mentioned there are different types of Vaishnava. So now we talked about three, technical categories of the Adhikari, Kanishta, Madhma, and Uttama. But there are people who are even lower than them, but they are also considered as Vaishnava. Of course, Kanishta, Madhma, Uttama, all of these are very higher stage. And then we'll know when we touch these three personalities from different perspectives. We are just, today seeing some of those. So Prakrit Sahajiyas are the one who chants Hare Krishna, but they're attracted to the things of the material world, like such as women and money and all of that. Innocent people whose heart is clean, who are innocent, and if they are eager to take pure devotional service, and if they are chanting the name of Krishna, we should consider that person also as a devotee, a neophyte devotee who have taken the initiation, but still, he has not formally fixed. So he should be also given proper respect and should be considered Vaishnava. Last but not least, even if one had chanted the name of Krishna, that person should be considered Krishna. That person should be considered Vaishnava. Why? Because by mercy, if one is engaged in the process of bhakti, by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Patit Pavan, whatever consciousness one is, slowly and slowly, that person will be delivered. That person will be given the opportunity to elevate in their consciousness. Then the last segment of the verse is talking about Diksha, or a spiritual initiation from a guru. Vaishnava Diksha by a guru is the process by which a devotee attains transcendental knowledge, Divya Gyan. So it's recommended that we should inspire to get initiation. And at the time of initiation, we basically surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and to the instruction that's coming to us from our Guru Maharaj. What is prerequisite? Prerequisite is that by taking initiation, we become prerequisites are basically what are the things that's needed for us to get initiation. We should come to the stage where we have loosened up our attachment for the things of the material world. We have come to the stage where we are ready to take the teaching and follow the 4 regulatory principles, live a life of celibacy, and have control on our senses. And also, we should have some degree of inquisitiveness towards the absolute truth, who we are, who Krishna is, what's the process to elevate in our consciousness. All of these are prerequisite to get initiated, but we should prepare ourselves to get initiated. And once we get initiated, then slowly, we elevate in our consciousness. So you might start somewhere on Prakrit Sahaja stage, or maybe as an innocent people, maybe as a neophyte devotee. Then we come to the stage of Kanishta, and then from there we go to Madhma, and then there we move to Uttama stage. So this is a continuous process. This is not a discrete process. We should not see Kanishta, Madhma, and Uttama as 0, 1, or 2 type of thing. Not. This is a continuous process. This is a continuous elevation of our consciousness. Likewise, these 3 guna, Sattva-guna, Raja-guna, Tama-guna, simultaneously exist within ourselves, and we act in a certain guna depending on the environment that we are exposed to. Likewise, we have some symptom of Kanistadhikari, some symptoms of Madhyamadhikari, and very little symptoms of Uttmadhikari too. Don't be confused. So we are not fully Kanistha, not fully neophyte, not fully Madhyama, or not fully Uttama. At least that's what my position is. That we have some degree of qualities coming from the neophyte, Vaishnava, coming from the Kanistha Vaishnava, coming from the Madhyam Vaishnava, coming from the Uttama Vaishnava. But if we continuously stay in the process of Krishna consciousness, keep on doing what we are doing, then slowly and slowly, slowly and slowly, we'll elevate our consciousness and will come one day to the stage where we can see things as it is. So very beautiful to understand the teaching of Nectar of Instruction. Sorry, I'm 8 minutes late. I had a little bit rush. So sorry for that. But I think some of these things will continue talking. This Kanishta, Madhma, and Uttama concept will keep coming in different contexts. And we'll talk as we go along. But I do want to have some discussion for 5 minutes, at least until 3:15 for 7 minutes. So let's see what realizations you have, what questions you have that you would like to discuss. First and foremost, I would like to ask, was it clear or not?